we got interrupted working on this thing. So stop working on that. We got that out. Tony's over here adjusting the height on his front coils. They're an inch too high.
Yeah.
So he's got to adjust that, get the car sitting up properly. And then this car came in with issues that it keeps breaking off the front bumper. So you can see it's cracked right here. This is a legit Varas bumper, and I've repaired it before all the cracks that it had. And I even reconstructed the side here with fiberglass. But he ended up getting it stuck again, ripped it. I think he hit something because I had repaired it down here. And now it's all cracked, and there's actually a see-through hole on the bottom. So I told him, if you don't want to keep breaking your bumper and you want to make sure, you know, it's a younger kid, so he having a fiberglass bumper, you will always destroy it, especially if you hit stuff on the freeway or if you hit stuff when you're parking. So I told him, let me make you a custom splitter. That'll solve all your issues. Right now, the bumper is literally just sitting on with these two bolts, and that's it. And if you go ahead and grab this, you can pull on it, and it doesn't move. It's nice and solid because I chassis mounted that splitter, but it's also bolted to the bumper on the bottom. And the rods, instead of making the rods come out here, I actually put the rods on the inside. You can see them there. There's one. Here's another one. It's mounted directly to the crash bar and then down to the splitter. So it's got splitter rods. They're just not visible. So they're hidden behind this part of the bumper here, which I feel is a cleaner look. So that makes this really, really solid. And it gives a little bit of aesthetic look to the front Varas bumper. I think it looks cool. And it's going to protect the bumper and keep it from getting damaged again. Because that bumper is not cheap for any of you that have looked into getting that bumper. So I got that done yesterday. Didn't really record because I was just trying to get it done. Because the customer was going to pick it up, but he's ended up picking it up the next day now. So he'll come pick that up. So then after this is done, we can continue working on the Gr86, which most of the quarter panels out already. All right, so now that the FRS is out with its new custom splitter, customer was super happy. Now that we finished up with that job, we can go ahead and focus on the Gr86 again. As you guys can see, I got most of the body damage out. It's really difficult to get it out completely. So what we're gonna do is just try to like body work it a little bit more, try to hammer it in some certain areas. We're gonna sand this down and we're gonna start adding glaze. The shape is pretty much there, if you guys can tell. It's pretty much there. It's just all like bumpy from me having to pry everything out. But for the most part, the shape is there, and let's try to get this looking good. I just masked off the parts that I want to make sure that I don't sand by accident, because we're not going to be touching those at all. We're not going to be painting them or nothing, so we don't want any scratches on the bumper, on the tail light, on the trunk, or that window trim. So let's get started, and let me show you guys what it's going to look like after I sand for ages here. So here we are with the bodywork. I've been pulling, I've been welding and banging it out. This area here was really sunk in, but I was able to get the shape back to where it goes. Got this area flat. Same thing with this area where two pieces of sheet metal meet. I went ahead and tack welded it all the way through because they had separated. But everything's looking good, look at that. The shape is there, everything's coming out good. Same thing here. I was feeling like a bit of a deep bulge here. Or not a bulge, but kind of like a little crater. And turns out it's like that on the other side too. So it kind of swoops in here and it's not fully bulged out. I thought it was gonna be like rounded, but it actually is designed to kind of like sink in that spot. So I was trying to pull that out for no reason. But there we go. We got most of it down. I gotta keep sanding some little areas. There was a little bit of a dent that happened up here that I have to body work, but I'm happy with that. It's looking pretty good. Now I just got to make it nice and smooth, and we can paint this. But let's finish up the bodywork because it's going to take quite a bit. So we're going to have to put that on hold so that way we can go ahead and do a clutch job on this FRS. I know it looks like a BRZ, but the steering wheel says Scion. The clutch is pretty bad. You have to put it in gear to even get the car to move. So if you have it on and you try to put it in gear, it won't even go in. So we got to do that. So we're going to be taking this out. And then we also have to paint the roof on this thing because it's all faded. And it had some double-sided tape for like a little wing spoiler on the, or roof spoiler. So yeah, we got to get this done. We'll take this out. And then at the same time, we got a normal job here. We're just going to be replacing the fans with the fan controller on that Pathfinder. So Tony's going to be doing that while I take apart the interior on this car so we can get the transmission out of it. So we got the Civic in for a hub replacement because the wheel bearing is bad. She got hit and pushed into a sidewalk and it messed up the wheel bearing. So just instead of just buying the wheel bearing itself, having to press it in and all this whole knuckle assembly was only like $100. So it'll all be brand new. We just got to swap it for the old one right now. That's what Tony's taking off.
This can come off altogether, right?
You got to take the caliper off first. Like just pull the caliper this way. You just completely take it off, and then you can take the rotor off.
Shouldn't the rotor come out with the caliper?
No, the caliper is going to be getting stuck.
Where?
Should be.
It should be not. This is strictly, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so just pull the caliper off, move it to the side, and then the rotor should just come out. Since this rotor is missing the bolts that hold it in place. Look at that, you can just lay it on the floor. Hot?
Yep.
There we go. Now we gotta remove the 2 ball joints on the bottom.
Ooh, look at that.
Already loosened the axle. What, the rotor's messed up?
Look at this.
Yeah.
That does not look right at all, sir.
How's the brake pad in the back?
It looks fine.
Oh.
It was really fine. They probably just
So we had Tony sanding his hood, and he was there for what, like 30 minutes just sanding it, and it wasn't coming out. So I was like, you know what? I have some paint remover. We added some paint remover, covered it in plastic, and waited 30 minutes, and this is the final result.
bare metal.
I say it took out like probably like 90% because there's still like some little spots. It'll never come out first try. But
Did a really good job.
right here, look at that. It's all wrinkled up right there. This just ripped off as I removed the plastic. Looks like that part's still connected right there, so we're gonna have to add a little bit more there. Yeah. So what you do is you just remove all this, throw it away, and then add that extra piece.
I'm not gonna keep it. I don't know.
Yeah. Add a little bit more.
It's crazy, man. Look at that. I would have been here for hours.
Yeah, if you try sanding that.
Something fell on the sun's paint, but it was all in really bad shape. It was weird.
Exactly. All right, well, we'll see how Tony leaves that after he's done. So after the second time, we applied some to the little last remaining spots. And it looks like everything came up. Hood is nice and free of paint and primer and all that stuff. There's some oxidation from it being exposed, so we're just gonna have to sand it down a little bit before paint, but that's looking good. And the reason we're sanding that down is because in here we have this thing still, and we're gonna paint the roof. It was really sun faded, and then it had like this wing slash vortex diffuser up here, and it looked terrible. So he wants us to paint this in black, and I was like, why not just paint Tony's hood at the same time since his hood looks so bad? So I was like, sand this down, we'll sand your hood down, or remove all the paint, and then we were gonna paint this and Tony's hood at the same time, since it's just gonna be black with no metal flake or nothing in it. That's what the customer wants. Working on the quarter panel a little bit more. I got the rough shape made for this part. You can see there from the top, it's nice and straight. Everything's looking good. Same thing underneath. And then this area is getting nice and smoothed out. You can see the areas where there's like metal kind of popping out. So I've hammered it down in some areas like here, where I need to add a little bit more. But that's how you know you have like a nice thin layer. You're not really caking everything on, because when you can see, you know, some of the metal underneath, it's just trying to make it smooth, because obviously when you pull it all out, it's not gonna come out perfect unless you're a PDR guy. But yeah, looking good, happy. There's a little bit of a low spot right here that I need to fill in. But everything's coming out super nice. Excited. Just gotta keep applying more of this gold glaze and then just keep sanding and sanding and sanding till I get the desired shape. But that already looks 10 times better than what it did before.